So what is your morning routine? And also, how long does it take you from the time you wake up to start begin working?
Yeah, I love that question because I am fascinated by morning routines, and I definitely agree with Joseph and yourself that they're so important, and they do make such a big impact on our days. I will say that I have tried different routines, and I will also want to normalize the fact that most of us aren't robots who have, a set routine and we never ever deviate from it and we follow it to perfection.
Yeah.
I'm very much about normalizing the fact that we can kind of have this ideal routine and it's okay if you don't do it every single day. For me, meditation has been an absolute game changer. I remember for years I would hear people talk about meditation and I would think, yeah. And then finally I did a 30-day meditation challenge and it literally changed everything in my business. My word of the year that year was intention. And it was only after I did this meditation challenge that I realized I'd been racing forward in my business. And when I slowed down enough, I could really get intentional about, does this serve me? Is this the thing that I'm supposed to be saying yes to? It just gave me so much more clarity and certainty around everything that I was doing in my business. And that's really the moment that everything began to shift. So before that point, I had a thriving copywriting business and it was doing really well. I had lots and lots of clients. I was in demand, but I also felt like I was kind of doing too much and I felt very stressed a lot of the time. And after this meditation challenge, that really gave me the opportunity to start to say yes to some different opportunities, some different clients and projects that I maybe hadn't tried before. And again, it just shifted everything for me. So meditation is huge. And what's lovely about meditation is that it has this kind of compound effect. So if you do it every single day or most days for a period of time, it doesn't matter where you are or what kind of stressful moment you find yourself in, you can kind of get rooted and grounded back in that place of being like, oh yes, I remember who I really am and what I'm truly capable of. So that has been a game changer for me. I usually wake up about 7 a.m. For a long time, I felt like, Nikki, you're not waking up early enough. You hear about the most successful people. I feel like there's endless articles about here's what the most successful people do every day. They wake up at 4 a.m. and they get a workout in and they do this and they do that. Like my body just doesn't want to wake up before 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. I kind of naturally wake up, go straight into the meditation. I'll walk my rescue dog Luna, who you probably just saw in the background, and then I like to sometimes read some nonfiction in the morning, particularly things that are going to help me in my business and kind of get my thoughts ticking along. Some journaling can be really great just in terms of kind of clearing my mind and getting it ready for the day. The hardest habit that I have had, and I know that a lot of people have this as well, the hardest habit for me to break is looking at my phone first thing in the morning and just kind of like scrolling for like an hour at a time. So one thing that I did do recently is buy an old school alarm clock so that I did have the option of putting my phone in the other room and waking up with that. I still haven't quite mastered that. It's so hard to put our devices to one side. With that in mind, actually, when I first start my day, I'm sat at my desk right now and I will oftentimes put my phone I'll mute it and I'll put it in the drawer. So I don't look at it. I don't know what's happening. I'm not tempted to pick it up. And that way I can just really focus on what I need to get done first thing, which is oftentimes I really love to start my day with one thing that is most important to me. And so I think we're probably going to get to talk about my book at some point. And when I was writing my book, it would always be tasks related to writing the book or marketing the book later on. So because that's been such a big project for me. And then it would be moving into, okay, now let's look at the client work, or let's look at some other tasks that I need to address. And then kind of the administrative stuff, I try and push off to the end of the day.
It's interesting. I mean, what you're really talking about here is cultivating a morning where you're actually you're mindful, right? I think intention is a great word for it, trying to really figure out what am I doing today? And if I do exactly what I plan to do today, will it be a good day? Like
Right.
most people very much struggle with that exact idea. Like, they just wake up, put their head down and then realize that they got nowhere because they never had a plan. So
Yeah.
I must ask you, because I think this is the biggest problem for, I think everybody knows that they should meditate. I think everybody knows that they should have some sort of intention for their day, but like 2% of people actually do it. So for the skeptic, so for the person who, is very much either has tried meditation before and has been successful, or someone who looks at meditation and says, why am I doing some Buddhist, monk practice? What would be your answer to be like, no, this is actually worthwhile?
It's like anything, right? And I totally take your point. It's like, well, I think sometimes when, particularly if we really value our own decision-making ability, we don't want
Mm,
somebody to say, you should eat more leafy green vegetables, you should meditate every day, because our first reaction is to say, I don't got to do nothing. So I think that the meditation thing, the only thing I can say about it is try it. So if you've heard people talk about it and they're like, la da da, it has all these great, great positive effects in your life, just try it. And, I'm always looking for the easiest way to do something. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what if it were easy? Like, I don't think that everything needs to be hard necessarily. And so, there are some people who will talk about meditation that you have to, sit in a certain way, and maybe a meditation cushion will help, and light some candles and do this. No, like, you can literally just wake up, there's a great app called Insight Timer that has guided meditations. And if you feel like you can only really sit still or lay still for a couple of minutes, then find a meditation on there that's 2 minutes long and listen to it. And then, and the great thing with Insight Timer is that it helps you, it kind of marks off your progress. So like, yeah, you've done 2 days in a row, or you've done 3 days in a row. So it kind of gives you little goalposts. Just try it for a few weeks, try it for a month. And, maybe slowly increase the amount of time that you do. I find that guided meditations are most useful because you don't have to, you can kind of focus on this other person's voice. And the goal is not to stop thinking for a period of time. It's just to become more aware of the thoughts that you're having, and get used to moving out of your head and more into a heart space, which is just a better way to do everything in life, let's be honest. So yeah, I would say just try it, and maybe you hate it, but I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna have some pretty significant impact on your life.
I agree. There's actually a quote that I really, really love. It's so Henry David Thoreau actually he went, there's a big thing about Henry David Thoreau. He went to the woods, right? He's very famous for just going to the woods and secluding himself. And he said, I went to the woods because I wish to live deliberately, to to front only the essential facts of life. And I see if I could not learn what I had to teach, and not when I came to die discover that I had not lived. And
Mm.
it's such a powerful quote for him to really be like, I decided to, what he's essentially saying is, I decided to make myself conscious. I decided to, live my life with intention instead of just living the unconscious, sort of automatic programming that we often find ourselves. And I find that, having a morning routine, especially, right, but meditation, in particular, is the most important to really help people sort of, wake up and just be like, all right, this morning I'm actually going to focus on something important. It's not just going to be, me just unconsciously, getting to work and doing some random things. The purpose of meditation is to really bring yourself in touch with your soul.